Alright, welcome back everyone to another coaching slash game review session. This time our victim is Moes, who's playing on his Horimiya account, which is probably supposed to be pronounced differently, but I can't be arsed to ask. And he wanted to have some feedback specifically on this game. He mega minded into Fiesta and then played this game against Schopleveren, some guy whose name is even harder to pronounce, and his teammate was Freck. And I'm gonna start by saying that this one is a little bit hard to review because a lot of things will depend on like communication, and especially in these sort of skewed elo matchups where everyone has like a quote unquote handicapped teammate. There's also a lot of things done to play around them, and this also makes it hard and sort of random to what's gonna happen. But I still think I have some insight to what I would have done differently, and maybe we can all sort of learn from it. But it's always hard to like I don't know, do because obviously I can say, well, you should have coordinated and played like this, and he should have covered your weak wave and yada yada. But this is not how the ladder works with elo discrepancies and stuff. So it's sometimes it's a little bit harder to execute. All right, so let's start with the roles. We have our initial role is Proton, Gargoyle, Skeleton, Windhawk, Sea Dragon, Banker, APS, Butcher, Gun, Millennium. And this has quite a significant amount of Fiesta openers in it. The best one, in my opinion, being Windhawk. But you can make an argument for starting Banker as well. It's not a bad Fiesta opener either. Um, that being said, I would have gone with Windhawk as well, and if you start Windhawk, you're kind of forced to pick Proton, Gargoyle, Pirate as well. Or at least I think those are kind of the best picks. And then you have some flexibility as to what you really want. Moes went with Gatling Gun Millennium. I would definitely pick the Millennium, and I would consider picking APS over Gatling Gun. And the reason for this is it's really a trade-off. Hashtag Jules. No, you really need the Gatling gun only for wave 12. Because for wave 7 and 8 you have other good options. And for all the other waves it doesn't really matter. Maybe for 16 as well. But APS Doomsday isn't so bad. And APS Doomsday gives you a really good combo that allows you to really carry a game, which is what I typically try to do, especially given that we have a lower elo teammate and we're sending into someone who's lower elo, so we're more likely to like scale and carry. So we really want some sort of combo slash aura slash something that allows us to really scale. The big negative is really that it leaves us vulnerable for wave 12, and especially with aggressive spells like PTA and Robo Squad, it's always difficult to play around that weakness, especially when you don't really know what your teammate is gonna do. And Dark Ritual is not the best defensive spell. I mean, it gives you a lot of gold, but the king damage really, really hurts. But still, I probably would not have picked the gun just because, I somehow need a roll to carry in my mind. And then I would have re-rolled like on wave 10 or whatever, just like Moes did. And then I would have found Bunk, and then I would have been like, ha! Win! Coin flip one. But anyway, I don't think this is a mistake or anything, what Moes did. I'm just saying my approach would have been slightly different. Alright, let's quit the role picking and let's go through the game. I'm going to say I don't know whether we were sure that blue is champion and when he put it on his war. His opening is definitely in the category do not ever do this, please. If you end up doing this in my team, I will probably do a rage slash flame cast game review, whatever, because I will be mad. Alright, so we start Windhawk, we push to 6 workers. I think this is correct. Adding the gargoyle is correct. Maybe half a square higher would be better, but I think it doesn't really matter. 70% leak or 67 to a snail on wave 2. Not ideal, but we definitely take it, especially since we leak our guy and he's weak on wave 3. So we get a really juicy resend in and get a very juicy Fiesta. So far, I would have done everything exactly as Moes did it here. For wave 4, we have the first quote-unquote misplay, in my opinion. And okay, we resend. I really think this is good. We really want to scale. Blue's build is horrendous. We can just income him. He's never gonna have a game. It's completely fine. But I don't like adding an atom here. And I think we specifically picked Pirate Skeleton for wave 4 and potentially for a wave 7 weakness. And we really should put it down here because it will do at least as well as an atom against the send. And it allows us to sell for a violet on wave 5 and be much lower value. So, I mean, we get leaks here, we're in a good position, but I think the double atom really doesn't help us so much with Fiesta, especially since atoms kind of want long waves and not necessarily leaky waves on your part. So, in that case, I would have been 415 value for wave number 5. I would have invested 8 gold via selling of the pirate skeleton. So I think this would have been better than I can be potentially 11 or even 12 workers on wave 5 already. Anyway, minor difference, but I think it would be better. I don't love that we're full sending here, simply because his units don't look awful on wave 5, but I don't think it's a misplay either. It's not a big deal. It's fine to go for a league. We're strong on wave 6 as well. It's not, we have a lot of workers. Long wave benefits us. It's, yeah, doesn't make a big difference. Alright, then we see that blue is horrendous on wave 7. We're strong on wave 6. We will be leaking potentially on wave 7, but it doesn't matter. We can apply a lot of pressure. Our teammate is strong on 6 as well. We don't need to cover. So we skip. Teammate full sends. It's not quite worth for him, but the long wave is really good. We get income, so we can scale even harder. We see the legendary Schnörderness and are really angry. Schnerd! What are you doing? Anyway, we go full here. Absolutely correct decision. Would have done the same. Teammates should have not been baited to go full here as well. But that's just how it is. We also do not talk about this build. We will have to later, but it's a bit painful. What we're doing here is completely fine. We're significantly under. We would leak to a full send, but we are highest workers in the game, and we cause 100% leak. Very well done. What's happening next is something the next 3-4 waves, I don't really like so much. And I'm gonna show what happens and then I'm gonna explain why. So on wave 8, we go for a full snail resend. Now, I don't hate it, but I'm not so sure if the 2 snails post income are super beneficial for us. Okay, I like that we built a gun. We are not going completely suicide Fiesta. We are already ahead in workers. We're probably significantly ahead in power score as well. So I kinda don't necessarily love going for a leak on him here with income. I think if we really want to leak him, we should have gone, I don't know, brutes or something. But really, I think what we want to do, and I think what our goal or Mo's goal in this game was, is to snowball. And I think in this case, 2 king ups or 3 king ups will go a long way in the long run. Because not having king ups will eventually come back to hurt you. Anyway, 17% leak, long wave is also good for us with the worker advantage. So it's not a big deal. I personally prefer to go income king in this spot over trying to leak them with income. Then we get giga baited. Teammate is going full into Stopple Wehren, which is a mistake in 99.9% of the cases. And in the 0.1% of cases where it's not a mistake, it's because he DC'd, because he loves overbuilding. And then we also get baited to fully resend. And yeah, these are the type of gambles that I just think are unnecessary when you're so far ahead. Like you see, red is on 1000 value for wave 8. He will be 1300 value for wave 9. So you don't really expect him to leak big. So your teammate should never go full, but he does. Okay, whatever. But we don't expect someone who's 900 value on wave 8 with a champion lioness to really be super undervalue for wave 9 when his teammate is getting saved on. So I think income king here is a much better play, and it's a much safer play. Like, even if, okay, somehow red leaks and you go income king and blue holds because of it, so be it. You're already ahead, you're gaining an advantage. Whatever. You can win the game later. Just snowball your advantage. And then, okay, we go income king on 10. Totally fine. Let's quickly have a look. So we have most workers, most income. We have the least value. Okay. So we'll be a little bit vulnerable on the next waves. Teammate is second highest income. Decent value, decent workers. And we are ahead. Not so much in net worth as we'd expect, but it looks like we can snowball our advantage. We don't really have a super weak wave coming up. And this is sort of the point at which we need to, well, I think probably around wave 9, you should be starting to really think about your game strategy. But probably at the latest, let's say wave 10. Because Legion spells are coming up and you really need to understand what type of game is it and what kind of threats are going to come and so on. And looking at this, excuse me, I think we will be falling into a quote-unquote tunnel vision trap. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that later. But we really should be asking ourselves, how do we want to win this game? We are slightly ahead in income and stuff. Not necessarily in net worth, but we should be in a decent spot, and I think we know that we're in a decent spot. So clearly, looking at our build, they kind of want to go 13 into us. Okay? And we know we have Doomsday, but given that this is a fed game, if they go for a Robo Squad play into wave 13, we might be in trouble. So I would be looking to try to protect our 13, and that is by potentially going for an aggressive spell 12 play, or by really just income kinging with Dark Ritual on 11 and then income kinging on 13 to play for a later wave. I think these are our two main options, unless we see on wave 11 that they don't have Robo Squad. And now, normally you would say, well, going 12 seems kind of hard. He has Butcher Nightmare, and this guy has a ton of pierce damage. And I do agree, but here's the thing. This Butcher Nightmare is sort of a trap, because if you look at his build, he has one healer to enable this, an arcane tank, an arcane tank, a swift tank, a swift tank. Something that makes the wave deal less damage. So I really think that for this guy to do extremely well on wave 12, he would have to roll a good fortified tank twice in a row with his chaos and fully prepare 12. And there's a very small chance that he actually does this. So I think you could make a decent argument for going wave 12 in this case. And this guy is a 2.3k player. He's already kind of behind. We have a worker advantage. He doesn't have any way to clear spam. So if we send Pack, double Imp, double Robo into his 12 build, there's a very, very good chance he's going to be leaking. So I think this is a play, but it's also fine to say, well, we're in a good spot, let's play for late game. This guy's kind of bad, I'm kind of ahead. I have confidence in my Millennium roll that this can carry, even though it's not a really good quote-unquote aura roll. And we are re-rolling into bunk and whatever on this wave, so it's fine to go longer. Right, so we take Double Dark Ritual and decide to play the long game. Completely fine. If we do this, I really like the income king angle here with full regen, so our king can get back up. We've pushed off of the 10 cent, but we've not omega pushed. I really like this play so far. We're in a good spot still. Then comes wave 12, and we see, okay, red did take the Robo Squad, and everyone else took Dark Ritual. I mean, okay, well, the Dark Ritual we already know, but we know that it's Robo Squad from red. There's no way he took Taxed Allowance and really is just quote-unquote baiting us. And now we might be feeling like, oh, I'm safe on wave 13 because I have a Millennium. But on the other hand, do we really have enough tanks? And this is the thing that often people get baited because they think, oh yeah, Doomsday is super strong on 13, which it is. But using specifically the Gatling gun and the Doomsday together on wave 13 is, in a lot of cases, it's weaker than people expect, and it's because you're lacking tanks. Both the gun and the Doomsday are very, very good DPS units, but you kind of need to have enough tanks for them. And if we look on our board, we have atoms, they are very bad tank value. We have a few protons, a green devil, gargoyles. Really, the only 3 units that are going to be good tanks are the skellies, the upgraded ones, and the violet. So we have 900 gold in tank value, even less, 800 something. And our main DPS consists of 1200 gold worth of units. And this is really very, very skewed in the DPS region, and this makes our build significantly weaker than it looks like. At least our teammate is good, but here's the thing. If we look at it at this point, right? What's our play? If we see Butcher Nightmare, we kind of want to go 15, but if we see everything else on this board, we see this Void Manta thing, we see a healer, we see a cat, we see this Slime Siren, he's Chaos, so he can roll Phoenix, he can roll Pota, he can roll Pilgrim. He's not going to be super weak on 15 on red. And on blue, sure, he has this Wark roll, but I mean, he also has a Pilgrim, he has Steed. There's a decent chance he will have, I mean, he's only showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, so he has 1 unit left. This unit might be a good counter to 15. So it's not like they are quote unquote absolutely helpless if we go 15. So I think we should not be tunnel visioning too hard on a lane to end the game, a wave to end the game, especially given that we've decided to play for income and scaling here. At this point, we are kind of deciding that we want to survive the next send, then be ahead, and then play to win the game later. And at this point, looking at our build, red picked Robo Army, are they really going to skip and go 14 on us? Hell no, right? There's no way they will go 14 on us. There's a very, very minor chance that he picked the Robos, and if we income on 13, they go 15 on us. But at that point, they are giga all in, and we are not so bad on 15 either, with like double Doomsday and a lot of gargoyles. Our teammate also has Doomsdays, and then we can either raise them or just income king to survive. So in my opinion, if you look at your value, 2.1k, very fat game, you'll be at 2.6, but there's also going to be a 600 cent coming. I just think it's a much better play to go income king on wave 13 to cover against aggressive spell, make a spell pick useless, and just continue scaling ahead. And we didn't do that. And honestly, this is the turning point of the game for me. Even though like values and workers and income and stuff doesn't look horrendous after this, it gets incredibly hard to play. And I'll explain why. I also think that our teammate going for an Arctear and double Leviathan buffed Antler may not be the best for wave 13. I think he has to go Doomsday and adjust his split, but this is the issue with quote-unquote skewed games towards lower rated, or when you have lower rated teammates. It's just a Fiesta and RNG what they do. Like, he is getting income on 11, and he knows you're weak on 30. He should just play to cover, and he's getting 140 smaller send, and he's leaking bigger than you. So, of course, if I had to sort of put the blame on someone who lost the game, who made the worst calls, it's always going to be your teammate. But this analysis is sort of around you and what you can improve on yellow. All right, so now that we've made this mistake, let's sort of reassess. They have used their pressure to get a ton of gold, and we will see this on wave 14, right? We just look at their builds. We have pushed a few workers, correct decision, but we've also, we've added some value. Not sure if this is the correct decision, but anyway, let's look at their values. Red is 3.3k value with only good units for wave 15, except for the Butcher and the Nightmare. And blue has 3 Pegasus, which are good on wave 15. He has a Fatalizer and a Pilgrim. But of course, he will leak. If you send him, he will leak. Okay? But we are kind of at a point where if they do not die or take a lot of damage to the next send, we will be significantly behind. So we need to target a wave where both people can leak. And if we see this build on red, I don't think we can ever go 15. I think we have to commit for a 16 play. And I think this was your only choice at this point to win the game. You're giving away a lot of gold. His build on red, he is in a decent spot. He has a very good build for 15. He will not leak. Or if you want to force 15, your teammate has to giga push and pro league on 14. And I don't think this is an option in this kind of dynamic where he's a purple player. Yeah, and I also think it's fine for you to skip 15 because, I mean, you've added value here. You are 500. Oh no, you're not 500 income. You're 500 income because you sent, but you're 300 income. You would be 3.3k value or 3.4k for wave 15. You have a Doomsday, you have decent units, you'll be fine even if they go full. But what happens instead is that you go full, you leak your guy, but I don't think a 4k value player with these units is ever leaking. Of course, he's lucky to roll Aqua and Orchid, and yeah, I mean, if he rolls worse, then of course you might leak him, but I really don't think so. I don't think there's a lot of rolls that will make him leak here. And we get income king, and we obviously hold. But now, with this full send, this amount of snowball, this amount of value is... it's going to be a really, really rough game to play. Especially since we have a strong wave coming up, wave 17, and a really, really weak wave coming up, wave 18, because we have no tanks and no really good units. So if this game goes to wave 18, we're kinda cooked in most cases, especially since they are good on 18. So you do what you kind of think you must, is like double Sui, double hard push. Well, not double hard push. You overbuild, your teammate suicides, but they make the correct call of not pushing at all. They do very, very well against the Sens, survive, and you really had to kill them here, and then they kill you with the counter punch. So I think the send into blue is also not ideal. I played around with it a little bit in Sandbox. I'll show it. I think like 4 eyes are a lot better here, or not a lot better, but like better here. What was the send? I can't remember. No, I wanted to show that. I think you wanted to send something like this, but I mean, I haven't really played around. There might be much better sends than this as well. But he has a lot of pilgrims, so I think anti-healing stuff is kind of worth it. And wargs have a lot of damage reduction, so the 4 eyes will sit on them for a significant amount of time and really build up their damage. And 4 eyes are also kind of strong on the king, so you kind of want to try to make sure you also have like wave creeps and 4 eyes on the king. And a fatalizer is also a ramping unit. So as you can see, we're leaking like 1 creep and 2 4 eyes, which is better than in-game, but it won't make like the world of difference. Anyway, so yeah, and at this point you go for a cope recent. Maybe income king is a better play here, but I don't think it really saves you. Maybe if you quote unquote go with the correct send here and you do like 40% king damage, maybe you can live with income king here, but it's really, really hard. And that the 17 play doesn't work, I don't think this is a mistake or anything. In the spot you are in, you have to sort of decide for a play that you think your opponent is doing, and they are sort of ahead, and you think, well, they are targeting 18, and maybe if we just go hard push, we can force 17, which would be good for us. Didn't quite work out, but I think it's the correct play to go for something. The other option that you have at this point is to try to quote unquote macro it out for wave 20. And then you just pretend that you're suiciding or something to try to bait 17, and then you try to build for wave 18 and somehow survive. But if we're looking at our teammates' build here, this is not like a build that I would be confident going later in the game with. Because Blue's build looked awful in the beginning, but he's sort of recovered. He has built some walk circles, he has decent scaling, it's fine. But our teammate with this split and no good tanks and the flying antler that's giga buffed by the Leviathans, I don't think his build has any future. So we're in a really rough spot and we kind of want to end the game on 17. I think this is correct. So yeah, this is kind of my analysis. And with what's happening here, I also don't necessarily think the 15 line is particularly brilliant. This is sort of what I would recommend, or what a lot of high elo players, quote unquote, high elo players do, is they start thinking about their quote unquote lines for the future already here on wave 11. And they are looking at their own builds and the enemy builds, and then they will say, well, our line is kind of 13 into 16 into 20, or 13, 16, 19, or 14, 18, 20, or something like that. And if we look at their builds with the arcane units and stuff, and with what we've discussed about the Robo Army, I think your line really is more 13 into 16 into 20, or maybe 19. Yeah, maybe 13, 16, 19, 13, 16, 20. Because this 15 cent, if it doesn't kill them, will always leave you in an awkward spot. Because in a game that's this fed, um, it's very, very hard / impossible to force a one-wave skip. They will have so much economy that if they go hee hee, we don't push hee hee hee, they will always survive even against the suicide play, and then you die to the counter punch. So if you go on 16, you're forcing them here to income king you again, or to income you again, or take a million more damage, or you get a lot of gold here, which enables you to survive with income king here. And then if they income you here, then you can go hee hee, we're not pushing and we're just going for wave 20. Sure, this guy has fatalizer, but he has just one, not enough tanks. Wave 20 is incredibly hard to hold. He will probably leak. You at least both have doomsday. Well, you have disciple, so you're always holding. Red hasn't shown any insane units except for one trebuchet, and he's lacking tanks for wave 20. So I think you really have a good angle for wave 20. All right, complicated game. I hope what I said makes at least some sense. Just to sum it up, I think you played a very, very good early game, nearly flawlessly. I just would have swapped the atom for a skeleton here. This sent really, really good. And then you started sort of quote unquote cope sending, trying to force more king damage when really in such a fed game, it's often better to just continue snowballing. And then you decided here to go for the quote unquote out snowball line. And if you go for this, you have to respect the Legion spells and respect your weak waves. So you kind of had to income king here. And if you don't, you want to go 16 and not 15. And I think the 15 is probably caused by the tunnel visioning on, oh, he has lifesteal doppel, so it has to be 15, and ignoring a lot of the rest of the roll. It's something that even happens to me. I tunnel vision on, he has APSDK. Fuck this guy. I'm so mad. I have to go 16. And then he has 7 flowers and easily holds and would have leaked on any other wave, but I'm an ape and I saw APSDK and I just killed myself. So yeah, and then I think it's fine to go for this play. Maybe with them not pushing, you could have gone for a survive on 18 angle, but you will always leak, and then they'll be far ahead and probably win on 20 anyway. So I don't blame you for this. Yeah, and looking at your teammate's build was really painful, and I think he's much more to blame for the loss than you. But I think there are maybe still some main takeaways that you could that might help you in your future games. And sorry that this one turned out to be longer, but I think this was rather complicated and I wanted to touch on a lot of details.